Tonight's intermission report is presented by the new Dodge. It's about change.
And welcome back to the new Dodge intermission report. John Saunders and Barry Melrose tied at 1 after 1. The second period still to come. First, some news. Bob Hartley named today the new head coach of the Colorado Avalanche. He spent 5 years in their organization, in their minor leagues, including at Hershey, where he won a Calder Cup. He says he was ready for this challenge.
I am thrilled and excited, yes, but also confident and convinced I will be able to fulfill my duties very well. I feel I have made the necessary sacrifice, the long learning process in the American Hockey League to prepare me to face this new challenge.
The last few days have been pretty outstanding for me. I met with Pierre Lacroix yesterday, and he convinced me to come to Denver and embark on this new challenge in my career.
Trotter's won 6 Stanley Cups, so he deserves his chance. But interesting, he's named the assistant, not hired by the head coach.
That is sort of a unique situation. Usually the head coach hires the assistant coaches. It's a very close working relationship. You have to have a lot of nights you're the only two that like each other when you leave the building. But Trotter, his records speak for themselves. He's a great player. He's been a good coach, a good assistant coach. He did a good job in Portland as a head coach. Both these coaches spent time in the minors. Hartley's done a good job in the minors. He deserves a chance in the NHL. He's been with Pierre Lacroix for a long time now in that organization, and I really think it's a good move. He'll do a good job there, and he's got a couple of good players in Colorado.
Yeah, a couple.
Not a bad job to get.
Some other interesting news, and this one is a little strange. Glenn Sather, who of course is the GM of the Edmonton Oilers, the word is out of Vancouver. One of the newspapers is saying that he is headed to Vancouver despite still having a year left on his contract.
There's been a lot of rumors with Glenn Sather's name involved. With the new ownership in Edmonton, it's going to be interesting. 35 people as your boss, that's really a weird situation. Glenn Sather, what else can this guy do in Edmonton? He saved hockey there. They built a new franchise. It's a young team that's on the move again. Glenn's name has been mentioned in a lot of the expansion places. Vancouver's asked for permission to talk to Glenn. He'd be an unbelievable man in any situation, especially a team that has money. He hasn't had money the last few years to work with in Edmonton. The only interesting thing there is, John, can Glenn Sather and Mike Keenan get along? So there are a lot of interesting things, nooks and crannies and curves in this road ahead for Glenn Sather.
I'd like to be outside the boardroom meeting when those two guys get together. Let's talk about the series between Dallas and Detroit. Detroit now just 1 win away from marching on, and things keep getting worse for Dallas. The injuries continue to pile up. Richard Matvichuk went diving for this puck. Fedorov over his back, and he popped his shoulder out a little bit, and he's questionable for tomorrow's game. The shoulder injury really bothered him as he left the ice. You can see in a lot of pain, but here again, the falling stars. Of course, Joey Nieuwendyk has been out since game number 1 of the first game against San Jose, but the rest of them continue to tumble.
John, I don't believe in luck in winning championships, but the bottom line is you have to stay away from injuries. You can't win championships and have main players down like Nieuwendyk and like players of this stature. Dallas has been hit with the injury bug. They lose 2 defensemen, Chambers and Matvichuk. You can usually overcome a forward because he doesn't play the quality minutes in the game situations of a strong defenseman. But that's 2 of the top 6 defensemen now out for Dallas if they don't play. That's going to be a huge hole for Dallas to fill. Look for guys like Sador, Zubov, Hatcher to play a ton of minutes, probably well over 35 minutes each. So that's all you can do. You got to win this game. It doesn't matter if they're rested if you lose this game. So they're going to pull out all the stops, but you got to be lucky. And Detroit doesn't have any injuries. Brown is back playing. So and that's 2 years in a row now. Detroit is fit the bill there.
Yeah, you cannot overestimate being healthy. All right, we'll continue with the new Dodge intermission report in just a moment. When we come back, we will again talk a little bit more of that Detroit-Dallas series. Dominic Hasek, Rob and his buddy Peter Bondra here at the end.
The new Dodge wanted to take the sport utility concept to a higher level. Enter the new Durango. Its best-in-class power, cargo space, and seating for up to 8 raise the bar considerably, as do its strongest-in-class frame and its stable, longer, wider stance. Dodge Durango, a higher form of sport utility, from top to bottom. Durango, new ground for the new Dodge.
How to speak Australian. Locksmith. Beer. Foster's, Australian for beer. Get ready to get creative. Get into a Rebel G. Go beyond snapshots. Experience the ultimate rush.
Cool.
Rebel G and only EOS lenses from Canon.
It's the Taxi Cab 500, and we're off! When you learn to drive.
At Pennzoil,
Here we go!
we make motor oil that performs under the harshest conditions. Stop-and-go driving. If Pennzoil can protect these cars at the Taxi Cab 500, maybe you should ask for it next time you change your oil. Stop, go. Pennzoil.
We have a situation.
On June 19th, it's a global conspiracy. Key players, highest levels of power.
Take your greatest fear,
I can't tell you what killed this man. I'm not sure anybody else could either.
your most paranoid suspicion, a planned Armageddon, and multiply it by X. The X-Files. June 19th, only in theaters. Rated PG-13.
How to speak Australian. Hors d'oeuvres. Beer. Foster's. Australian for beer.
Welcome back to the new Dodge Intermission Report. We're going to talk Dallas and Detroit again. In Dallas, at Reunion Arena, they hung some banners saying Western Conference champions. Now, they were the President's Trophies champions. They had the best record in the NHL during the regular season. But Detroit says, hey, they haven't won anything.
It made me remember 1995 when we lost against New Jersey, 4th Street. We thought that we're a great team, but you're not a great team until you win the Stanley Cup. And that's fine with us. And if they want to think that they won something, that's fine. You know, they did win something, a championship season, but a cup is a cup. You can't beat a cup.
And Marty LaPointe would have another reason for saying that a little bit later. You can't beat a cup. As he runs into Eddie Belfour there, turns around and fires the goal in. Now, this happened a couple of games ago. Belfour pretty upset. And then take a look at this on Sunday. Oh!
Ooh, that's going to leave a mark.
And Marty LaPointe was right. Here's a look at what the goaltenders have done thus far this season. Ole Kolzig clearly has been the outstanding one. Eddie Belfour, though, the surprise at the bottom of that list.
Surprised he's at the bottom, but also the other great old goalie, Dominic Hasek, is third from the bottom. So you've got the two veterans at the bottom of the list. The two young kids are on the top of the list. And I think what this tells is the team's really prepared for Hasek and Belfour. They're doing a lot of good things. They're running into them. They're getting in front of them. They're bothering them. They're talking to them, screening them. They're doing exactly what you have to do against great goaltenders. It's almost like the other two teams have overlooked the young kids, thinking that they're going to fall on their face and they'll come down to earth. It hasn't worked out that way. Kolzig is motivated because he's got the great goaltender on the bench behind him. And you've got the young kid in Detroit that knows if I make a mistake and lose the Stanley Cup, I'm going to have a terrible year because of what Vernon did last year. So the young goaltenders are motivated, and they're playing great. The older goaltenders are struggling a bit, giving up some soft goals. So it's a very interesting situation. The old goaltenders not getting the job done. The young kids, new in the block, are outplaying them. So it's a funny situation.
And there's a little question that they have Eddie Belfour off his game. He has more penalty minutes than the other three goaltenders combined. Don't forget, you can see the next one right here on ESPN. That's tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern Time. Game number 5, Detroit looking to wrap it up and head to their third Stanley Cup final in the last 4 years and looking to win their second straight. Buffalo got on the board early. Shannon, a little wrister towards the net. We are tied 1-1 after 1.
How long does it take to turn the new Dodge Durango from the sport utility with the most passenger room in its class into the one with the most cargo room? Not long enough. Durango, new ground for the new Dodge.
Friends, 10-3-2-1 has changed to 10-10-3-2-1, but nothing's really changed. You still save over AT&T on every call in the U.S. and still save 50% on every call over 20 minutes. There's no need to sign up. Just dial 10-10-3-2-1, then 1, then the number as usual. For me, It's the 50%, isn't it?
One more woman hearing herself think. One more woman ignoring the word impossible. One more woman finding a few miles of peace. One less woman waiting for someday. Achieve new balance.
My dad always said,
As soon as I get a computer, you'll come out with something better.
so to make sure people like Dad always have the latest computer, we've invented Yourware, technology that grows with you. For just $49.95 a month, you get a computer with an Intel Pentium 2 processor, unlimited internet access, and you can trade it in toward a new one in 2 years.
What do you call this thing? Yourware.
Call 1-800-GATEWAY, and let's talk about Yourware.
Stevie Y and the Red Wings lead the series 3-1 and now skate back to Dallas where the Stars must fight to stay alive. Red Wings Stars tomorrow night at 7:30 on ESPN.
Welcome back to the New Dodge Intermission Report. Back to the second period in a moment. First, some Major League Baseball news. The draft held earlier today. The #1 pick, the Phillies had it for the second year in a row. They picked Miami infielder Pat Burrell, who hit .433 with 11 home runs for the Canes this year. J.D. Drew, who was the #1 pick a year ago but never signed with the Phillies, wanted too much money, was picked #5 by St. Louis. Stick around. When we come back, we'll head you towards the second period. We are tied at 1 apiece. The Caps looking to march on to the Stanley Cup final.
Take a trip down the Mississippi and let the currents of this mighty force sweep you away to another time. See the muddy waters turn blue and gray. Hear the birth of the blues and ride the first steamboat.
Belching steam and smoke with paddle wheels going, and nobody had seen anything like it.
Hello, I'm Hal Holbrook. Join me for a journey down the river to mighty Mississippi.
All this week at 9 on the History Channel, where the past comes alive.
Who's got the experts to help you turn your lemon into a cherry? Our factory-trained staff. They'll help you get the right part the first time. Track Auto, Super Track, and Super Track Warehouse. If you can find it on your car, you can find it in here. Who cares about the lowest prices on auto parts? You do. That's why you'll always get them at Track Auto, Super Track, and Super Track Warehouse. If you can find it on your car, you can find it in here.
Greg Moore, Alex Zanardi, Michael Andretti, Paul Tracy. The fastest drivers in the world head for the Motor City. It's the ITT Automotive Detroit Grand Prix. You've never heard Motown sound like this. Sunday at 2:30 on ABC Sports.
ESPN's coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs is brought to you by Bud Ice and Bud Ice Light, the official beer sponsors of the NHL. By Visa, the official card of the U.S. hockey team. It's everywhere you want to be. And by the new Dodge. It's about change.
The MCI Center in Washington, D.C. continues to rock as we get you set for the start of the second period. Sabres and Capitals are tied at 1. Welcome back to National Hockey Night. Steve Levy along with Darren Bank. Brian Hayward is downstairs. Ron Wilson asked for a show of hands at practice the other day. Who's played in June? And only 3 or 4 players were able to raise their hands, and they want to continue going, and they were able to tie it up late in the first.
Well, they were lucky. I thought that was a big, big goal for them. Fortunate in the case that they didn't want the Buffalo Sabres taking over and Dominik Hasek taking over. And when you look at the first goal of the game, it really silenced everyone here, the capacity crowd, because Olaf Kolzig was looking towards the right. Keep your eye on his head. He's looking towards the right, and all of a sudden this shot goes in. Clearly, Olaf Kolzig lost track of where that puck was. Now, on the far side here on the goal that the Washington Capitals did end up scoring, you see Richard Smellick, he fired that puck right over to Andrei Nikolitin. They gave the assist to Zednik, but that should be an unassisted goal. Nikolitin capitalized on a one-timer after Richard Smellick just inadvertently put that right on his tape.
We are set to go. Start of the second period. Caps win. They will advance on to the Stanley Cup Finals. Sabres win, and we'll have a Game 6 back in Buffalo, as this place is electric. And they will start the second period, the Washington Capitals will, on the power play for 1 minute and 20 seconds. They have not seen this kind of sports electricity in this town since, I don't know, last time the Washington Redskins played in a championship game at RFK. Here's Peter Bondra now and across the line. Zednik has it. Dumps it down low. Again, Caps start on the power play with Richard Schmelik in the penalty box. Gonchar's shot was deflected away. Shannon trying to knock it out. Gonchar able to keep in, throws it deeper. There's Bondra back behind the net. Wilson throws the check, ties up his man. Zednik on it now. Goes back to the point for Gonchar. Sergei Gonchar lets it go. It's blocked in front. Blocked by Shannon that time. Slapped that up the boards for Phil Housley, able to keep in. Bondra couldn't handle, but it comes right to the Capitals. Another one of those bounces going Washington's way. Here's Zednik for Housley. Middle of the ice. Lets it go. It's blocked. Still loose. Hasek trying to move it away. On the side of the net, they bat at it. And we get the whistle.
After giving up that goal, the surprise goal to Nikolitin, Richard Zednik and the Washington Capitals have Dominik Hasek floundering a little bit. I know we're used to this, but there's been a little bit of hesitation towards his left here. He loses footing right here. Oh, and he was very fortunate just to even sweep that away just a little bit. Zednik has the wide open short side, but he carries on from behind the goal line. And as usual, Peter Bondra is in front of the net. Bondra, you've got to give him plenty of credit. He's a super skilled guy, one of the greatest skaters in the National Hockey League. But he goes in front of the net a lot. He goes back and forth. He just doesn't keep himself in one position. He wanders off, and that obviously forced a guy like Hasek to be on his toes.
Here's Johansson's shot deflected out of play into the crowd, and he goes in front of the net with ankle problems, with knee problems. Bondra's a great story. They had their practice canceled on Sunday. Bondra was still the only player to show up for Washington.
And then he tweaked his ankle a little bit, too, and that was a little bit of a scare. Adam Oates has won 9 of 10 faceoffs tonight for the Washington Capitals. Just a remarkable, remarkable number. Right now, he's a right-hand shot. He's going to switch his hand over to play that back to the backhand to number 6, Johansson. They win it again.
Johansson has. Off for Juneau. Down low, Oates gives it back to Joey Juneau. Pass is broken up. Sabres look to come out. Out ahead for Derek Plant. And he couldn't handle the pass from Holzinger. It's fired right back in by Bugner. Power play is over. Able to kill it off. Back to 5-a-side as we're early on in the second period. Tied at 1. Curtis Brown off for Barnaby. Matthew Barnaby lets it go and catches glass. Zednik able to hold in on his backhand momentarily. Puck is still loose. Comes back for Brown who lets it go. Buffalo shooting from every angle. 2-on-2. Oates trying to get his stick free from Grosek. And it finally does. Johansson for the Caps. Up for Juneau. Able to knock it out. Great play by Oates to knock it down out of midair. Here's Adam Oates. Oates from the angle. Cut it a bit too fine as he was going short side. Had Brian Bellows with him on the far side. And it's offside now at the Buffalo blue line.
Well, we just saw Adam Oates with that great hand-eye coordination. Part of hand-eye coordination is face-offs as well. Game 1, 15 of 26. Game 2, 20 of 27, and goes on and on. Game 4, 17 of 24. Total 65.5%. By far the best center iceman taking face-offs here in this series. Hand-eye coordination, well, some guys are tennis players, some guys are lacrosse players. Well, some guys just have the ability to not only knock it down, but knock it down soft so that they're able to get a chance from it. Some guys have the happy hands. They knock it down and they hammer it way ahead of them. Soft hands from Adam Oates to take that puck. When you're a lacrosse player, you cradle the ball. And you got those wrists go back and forth and back and forth. Same thing with stick handling like that. To make sure you got a good feel for the puck.
Oates with 13 points. He leads the Capitals in scoring in this postseason. Though he struggled a bit offensively. Just 2 assists in the 4 games heading into this one.
Well, yeah, he's a guy that, you know, when you give him time and space, he's going to make you pay. The thing about the Buffalo Sabres is they are a quick team. They're a quicker team than what the Washington Capitals had played, both Buffalo and Ottawa. And they get in your face real early. It's the active playoff points right there. Pretty good list right there.
At center ice. Bugner gets to it for Buffalo, and he'll shoot in. Garada in on the forecheck. Holzinger there as well. Couldn't get to it. but the Sabres were able to keep in. Rob Ray on for a rare shift. Hard hit by Verrata on Gonchar. And the play broken up at center by Woolley.
Now Lindy Ruff is going back to the lineup combinations that we thought he was going to start the game with. And this line here, Holzinger's got Rob Ray on the right side. Rob Ray only played 35 seconds of the first period.
Back behind the net, Holzinger has. Looks to get out ahead. Off the deflected pass, Rob Ray will take it and shoot in. Sabres will go for a change, except for Verrata, who's ahead of the play and makes the play. He's checked by Johansson. Good work here by Václav Verrata. Comes back to the point. Zhitnik pinching, forcing the issue a bit there. And now returns to his normal point position. Here's Shatan. Verrata's got to be tired. The rest of his line mates are already off. Verrata goes to the front of the net. Here's Shatan circling away. Centers in front. Verrata put down to the ice as he was checked down.
That's a great shift by Verrata. His play has slipped a little bit, and it could be from fatigue. He's had a fine rookie year, and the postseason's been tough and demanding as he's played primarily on the number 1 line, number 2 line. That was an excellent shift to keep the play going for the Buffalo Sabres.
Might leave the playoffs in stitches as it's sent inside the Buffalo zone, and it will go for icing as Shannon touches up. 16:10 to go in the second. The Capitals a win away from advancing on to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Today is a black day in the history of the NHL. It grieves me to report that the most noble symbol of the game of hockey, the Stanley Cup, has been stolen. Please, one moment. What kind of sick and twisted person would do such a thing? Police have no clues except for a sound heard by one of the night watchmen, Doobie, Doobie, Doo.
Doobie, doobie, doo.
Drink Bud Ice, but beware the penguins.
Excuse me, is the seat taken?
With the power of Visa Platinum, you can rent a villa in St. Bart's, while away the long tropical days, sharing Coquille Saint-Jacques with Nastasia Kinski. Of course,
you're fired.
You'd lose your job. You hate Coquille Saint-Jacques, and Nastasia is actually dating a European kickboxer called
Serge.
But with the exceptional purchase power of a Visa Platinum card, isn't it really nice to know you could? Visa Platinum, it's everywhere you want to be.
ESPN's National Hockey Night, our exclusive coverage of Game 5, the Eastern Conference Finals, coming to you from a jam-packed, and I do mean jam-packed, MCI Center. Sold out for the 7th of their 9 playoff games, including 4 in a row. Hockey has taken over here in the Beltway. And the Capitals get to it in a 1-1 game. Shots even as well at 7-all. And it's fired all the way down. And Bugner will touch up for the icing, and they'll bring it down into the Washington end.
You know, we talked a little bit about Dominik Hasek and what he did to alleviate some of the pressure. Kramer on his helmet, Swiss cheese on his jersey. We talked about him and the idea he had.
Yeah, that's my idea, you know, why I gave up. Unbelievable goal, you know, I don't remember, I mean, I remember that. I don't think it happened since, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago I gave up a goal from somewhere from the red line. And unfortunately, it happened in the playoffs, you know, but you know, it was yesterday, I mean, 2 days ago, and you cannot do anything with it. It happened.
I was doing some investigative reporting today, trying to find out who gave him the nickname Kramer. No one would say. This is a serious thing inside that Sabres locker room. And I will tell you, without going into great detail, the player who did give him that nickname has been paid back greatly. That was my investigative reporting.
Hey, listen, he told me this morning when he was driving to practice, he's driving and he said, I got to think of something to loosen this thing up. I've got to do something, because what happened was Dominik Hasek, too, you go back to between games 3 and 4, he really put the onus on his team. I mean, he stood up in the locker room and he wasn't happy with the way others were playing. He wants to win. He's a competitive guy, and he gets that way. He's got to be a leader for this hockey club. Sometimes leaders do funny things. Hey, listen, when they're winning, who gets all the credit? Yep. Dominik Hasek does. When Wayne Gretzky's playing, they're winning, Gretzky gets all the credit. When they're losing, hey, the superstars do take the blame. They do take responsibility. They are accountable for themselves. That's why they're great players.
At center, and now flipped into the Buffalo zone. I think the quote from Hasek was, the criticism we're talking about was nobody, nowhere, talking about his teammates. I don't think anybody disagreed with him either on the team.
Well, they have to pick it up again. They got to play better again. Their play has faltered again. They score the first goal. That's a key to the game. They've got to start going hard and winning the battles. I mean, the little engine that can't run out of gas with the season that they've had.
Zednik banned on the big banger, and he's got a great shot. We saw that in Game 3 as he released a bullet for one of his 2 power play goals. And the hit of the game right there. Andre Nikolitin flattens Dixon Ward.
Oh, Nikolitin's become a big-time player here for the Washington Capitals. The one-time Hartford Whaler, who sports number 13, has got all luck going. I tell you that much. He is really playing well. And it wasn't the hit from Nikolitin, but Zednik. And Zednik can hit, huh? I mean, this kid is strong. There comes Nikolitin right there. Not only are you going to take one, then the guy just gets up right here. Dixon Ward gets up, braces himself, thinking he's okay. And bang, he gets popped again. That's coming at you in layers right there. So not only does that fine line bring you some offense, but they also bring you some defense and some hitting responsibility as well, as the Caps have out-hit the Sabres.
Capitals seem like they're winning in just about every aspect of the game. We show the face-offs, big advantage for Washington, except on the board we're even at 1-1. Hasek, the stop there. Some jeers from this crowd here in Washington. Here's Sanderson making the tricky move out in front. Gets it ahead for Chatan. Here's Derek Plant now. Back behind the net. Caps come away. Up the sideboards, here's Juneau. Cross ice pass is broken up by Shannon as they try to get it through to Bellows. There's Brian Bellows with a puck. Back for Phil Housley. In across the line off the bit of a pick play. Here's Juneau. Shot it wide. Looking to go short side on Hasek. Comes out in front, and the Sabres will clear.
What a play by Joey Juneau. Is he tricky? You give him a little time and space, he's going to burn you, make you pay. I mean, 3 of his 5 goals have been game-winning goals.
Here's Juneau and across the line again. He's checked this time by 2 Sabres. Karams to the back of the net now. Back to the point. Johansson lets it go. It's deflected. Here's Oates from the bad angle. Oh, he snuck it through to Juneau. Couldn't have been expecting the pass there and just got a tip on that shot. Shot. Hasek and knocked aside. Hasek looked like he didn't even see that one. Still made the stop. He saw that one and the rebound, and he'll cover up. Caps are really turning it on here.
Oh, they've taken over this hockey game. The Capitals showing why they've been so successful in postseason play. Patience, perseverance, and obviously the experience factor of calming things down, not getting too excited during the course of a hockey game. The guy that's going to wrap it around here, if I'm not mistaken, is, Kelly Johansson. Johansson takes the puck and goes on the forehand for the wraparound. So the defenseman again of the Washington Capitals jumping up in the play and creating some offense. Before that, Joey Juneau fakes the shot, makes the nifty play around, looked like Wilson, and then fired it wide. Hasek again, off balance, going down, and it was just Juneau fanning on that shot as the puck might have bounced.
We said all Caps, don't take my word for it. You see the scoring chances here in the second. I've been wrong before, as you know, Peng.
Not a chance.
Deep inside the Buffalo zone, Alex Schmelik is there. Hit by Tikkanen. Zednik knocked off the puck by Kelly Miller. Doesn't only hold the record for most playoff games in a Washington uniform, but regular season games as well. But Schmelik comes away for Buffalo. Off of Curtis Brown, bit behind him. And it's sent inside the Washington zone. All the way down. And this time it will go for icing as Zednik touches up. 12:38 to go here in the second. Dominik Hasek finds himself locked up in a 1-1 hockey game.
It's about time and finding faster ways to take new ideas from drawing board to reality. It's about the search for methods to make machinery last longer or make a long drive seem shorter. It's about making time to look beyond the obvious. And most of all, about taking time to listen.
Welcome back to Washington, D.C. Sabres and Capitals tied at 1. Face-off now to the left of only the goalie. Kolzig has yet to make his first spectacular save of the night. That one was blocked. Might have been up for two there, but went by Willie. And Holziger can't hold his own. Our Bud Ice Stanley Cup summary for you. The Sabres were the only team during the regular season not to have a 3-game losing streak. Well, they've lost 3 straight here in the playoffs. Caps have won 4 straight and won series once. Back in '90, that was the big John Drew series. Game 5 is the first Buffalo-Washington franchise has played a game in June.
I think the Buffalo Sabres are missing the boat a little bit here. By scoring that first goal of the game, I mean, they have not smelt blood. I mean, and they're supposed to be the desperate team. They're facing elimination. You score the first goal on Kolzig, and the way that goal went in, you would think as a team, you would put everything on net. You would think that you would force them and put it on net and see if he's on his game a little bit.
Yep.
There has to be a game during the course of a series where a goaltender's going to get some bad breaks or at one point give up a bad goal, but they haven't done that. Well, what they have done is put Chris Simon on the ground. Right here, Simon goes into Bugner, and it's the way that Simon goes into the boards. Remember, Bugner and Simon went at it before Bugner got that penalty, the boarding penalty on Chris Simon. A lot of the players on Buffalo, when we asked about that one line, that Sanderson line, and that line at one point, and Holzinger line, they were playing against the Chris Simon line. I asked them why they're quick and on top of their game. They said, well, you and two of you, the hair keeps coming by. He's flying at you.
Here's a chance for Donald Audette, deflected out of play. And into the crowd as players come together now to the right of the net. Our coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs continue for you. Tomorrow night, it's the Western Conference Finals, game number 5. Somewhat of a similar situation. That series at 3-1. Advantage Detroit as they go to Dallas. 7:30 Eastern from Reunion Arena. Gary, Bill, and Brian will have it for you right here on ESPN.
Mark Tenorti was in the Stanley Cup final back in '91 with the Minnesota North Stars then. And this is his first sniff at getting back to a position like that. You know, you're going around the Buffalo Sabres locker room, you're seeing these players, these young players. They're such a young and enthusiastic hockey club, and you almost want to go in and tap on the shoulder and say, you know how many chances you're going to get to be in this position? Do you really know? Yeah, you might be a little out of gas. Yeah, it's been a great run, but there's more to it. You can keep going. And you can ask guys like Mark Tenorti, and there's been so many, many others, like Dale Hunter.
Phil Housley as well.
Phil Housley. The list goes on and on and on.
Here come the Capitals now. Slow developing 3-on-2. Gunchar lets it go. Stick save Hasek. Pekka gets to it. Up for Verada, who will slap it down, all the way down. And it'll go for icing as Riki touches up. 11:32 to go here in the second 1-1. Our Dodge Final Fact. We like to share one of those with you every single game. And tonight, 12 teams have come back from 3-1 to win a playoff series. Well, since 1987, no team has come back to win down 3-1 in a conference or Stanley Cup final. Well, that would work against your Buffalo Sabres.
Buffalo Sabres have had a lot of never-haves going into this playoff. They never have the Sabres beaten the Flyers. They did that. Never have the Montreal Canadiens been swept at home. They were done so by the Buffalo Sabres. Never have the Sabres come back from a 3-1 deficit. They're in that position now. Lindy Ruff hopes that those threes continue.
And a penalty coming up behind the play, and it'll go against Buffalo.
Lindy Václav Verada that's going to go off the ice for the hold. He is right behind the referee, Terry Gregson, right behind him. Lindy Ruff's trying to whistle here to get the attention of his hockey players. Trying to get their attention or the referee's attention. And some of the players on the bench are pointing towards the scoreboard. Maybe there's a problem with the clock, I'm not sure. Hold on the stick, it looked like a Mark Tenorti. Terry Gregson had lost his balance. And let's just see if there he is. There's the hold right there. So that's a good call by the official. It's discreet, wasn't it? I mean, the referee's only got 2 eyes. How the heck do you see that stuff? Good call by Gregson.
These players are tricky, and that's Verada, a rookie. He should know that trick yet, Sanger. Holding the stick at 8:35, fourth power play of the night. for the Washington Capitals.
Yeah, Caps are 1 for 3 with the man advantage. The Nikolitin's goal was a power play goal. Really should have been unassisted, although Zednik did get credit for an assist on that goal to tie the game up at 1-1.
For Nikolitin, the first career playoff goal for him. He had 10 assists coming into this game, leading his team in that category. And a 4-assist game back here in Washington. Here's Zednik on the headman pass. And they move it across the line, 1-on-3. Pekka, first man of the corner, gets to it, and he'll rifle it out and down the ice.
A good start to the penalty-killing unit by the Buffalo Sabres, led, of course, by that dynamic duo there, Mike Peck and Dixon Moore. Now the next layer have to continue the kill.
Gonchar shoots in. Hasek can't play it. Comes right out in front from Nikolitin, and Hasek got just enough. Nearly put it into the net himself.
Nikolitin is sniffing some golden opportunities here. He shot from the short side on the goal that he scored. It looks like Washington is willing to shoot from anywhere in hopes that they get a bounce here or there or get Dominik Hasek out of position.
Nikolitin's 10 assists, not only leading his team, he's tied for second in these Stanley Cup playoffs. 5 assists shy of Steve Yzerman of Detroit, who, by the way, is putting together another great Stanley Cup playoff run. Coming up on 50 seconds left in the power play. Here's Housley. Off for Bellows. Leaves for Oates. Housley.
Oh, what a pass.
Soft pass. Right to Johansson. Big shot. Bigger save by Hasek, and he'll hang on.
That's a bit of a momentum killer right there. That's a good play by Dominik Hasek, as the pass by Phil Housley was outstanding. A little backhand pass right there between the legs of Mike Peck. Remember, Mike Peck was on the ice for the first part of the penalty killing. He came right back out at it. Oh, it's a deflected play right there. What Brian Bellows did was change the momentum of that hard shot. And before that, Schmelik comes in to try to challenge Gonchar. And here's, oh, it took a funny Karam off the boards. So that's a real smart play by Nikolitin. At first, I thought Hasek misplayed it. It didn't. It just went off the partition there. So Hasek was real fortunate that it didn't go off the heel of his stick and then in the net behind him. It's one of the fewer buildings that are new that doesn't have stainless glass.
Face-off to the right of Hasek. Good draw by Washington. That's been the story of the night on face-offs. Caps have a huge advantage. Trying to tee up Juno. One-timer. And his shot anyway was a good one. And Hasek able to make that stop. Almost seemed like Dominik was expecting the one-timer, and the fact that it wasn't might have thrown him off.
There's been a lot of that, fake shots. Don't forget, last night here at MCI Center, there was a big wrestling match. Sold out capacity crowd. The Sabres had to move their ice time, and now we're back because the ice wasn't completely ready. They've done some hard work on getting it there, but when players do that, often it means that the puck is rolling and bobbling, so they don't feel comfortable one-timing it.
Caps for Johansson.
Where is it?
Blockered away.
It's in his blocker.
By Hasek. Did it stick in the blocker?
It's in his arm. It's right in his arm, right in his blocker. Yeah. There you go. The ref, Brad Lazarowicz, the linesman. Nice mic for this game, by the way. And he just takes the puck right out of the hand.
Giving new meaning to the blocker save.
Man, you know what happens is you turn your blocker over on this one-time play, and you try to direct it out to the corner. It is wobbly. He turns it over. Oh, that's a great look at it, guys. Super slow-mo off the elbow. Now it drops straight into the glove. So everybody's wondering where it is. Where's the puck? Where's the puck? It's right there. Right inside his blocker. Neat stuff right there.
Face off to the right of Hasek and his blocker. Another good draw. Clean face. Gonchar's shot is deflected on its way towards the goal. Back behind the net. Bubner trying to clear for Buffalo. It's 5-on-5. It only seems like a Washington power play. 2-on-2 battle. Woolley, off the backhand, couldn't get much on it, therefore couldn't clear. And that leads to this. Kelly Miller back behind the net. Bubner's there. He's checked immediately by Eagle. Back to the point for Ricky, lets it go. That is blocked by Curtis Brown, who went down. And it just squeezed across the line. Offside at that Buffalo blue line. Caps a win away from a Stanley Cup final appearance.
Ramparts Restaurant, the 1997 winner of the Best Neighborhood Restaurant Award. Enjoy our $11.95 dinner entrees in a smoke-free environment.
HTS, ready to play, hitting big season 4 in June. Orioles, 14 games, interleague battles. Fox Baseball Thursday night, DC United, NASCAR, Formula One, and Fast Track Friday. NFL Europe, golf, ready for mid-season 4. HTS, ready to play all June long.
Back in Washington, 8:47 to go. Tied at 1. Face-off just outside that Buffalo blue line. The Caps out shooting the Sabres 10-1. How about 10-1 in nearly the last 15 minutes of play? So when we say all Washington, we're not kidding. Chance in front. Shot it wide from Chris Simon. Seems like all the chances that Washington gets when they shoot it wide, they're all on the short side of Dominic Hasek.
Short side, high, they're just firing at will. That's a confident team, though. Not thinking, they're not trying to fine-tune it, they're just letting it rip.
Here's Dale Hunter now.
Oh, this line's good. What a hit by Simon right there on Zitnik. Good hit.
Kept in, shot right on. Hasek put it off the side of the net, and the fans behind the goal thought it was in, and that's the way they reacted.
You know, Dale Hunter's playing with two pretty big guys. Chris Simon on one side, and he's got Craig Berube, the game-winning goal scorer in their last game, Game 4. Dale Hunter had some fun talking about his terrific line mates.
Well, you know, I play with Big Chief and Little Chief, and well, both big for me. And you know, they're a force out there. They're big guys, and they hit and go to the net hard. So, you know, with the type of line of ours, momentum line to, you know, we don't score a pile of goals, but momentum means a lot, and we try to get it going our way.
I think people are really rooting for Dale Hunter if you want to pick out an individual. 17th postseason, has never been to the finals. Face-off, and the shot ripped off the glass. One of the guys you root for, unless you're playing against him.
And anytime Ron Wilson's sensing a little bit of a lull, I mean, he puts them on the ice. Anytime there's a goal scored or goals again, he puts them on the ice. They respond.
Giveaway. Verada tried to feather the pass down low. Couldn't sneak it through to Dixon Ward, though. And it comes out to the right of Olaf Kolzig. Here come the Caps in across the line, led by Zednik now. Cuts it wide. Centering pass for Bondra. Tried to play it off his backhand and couldn't get the shot on goal. And this will go for icing as Brendan Witt is back for the touch. Pretty good opportunity there for Washington.
Bondra had a real good chance there. Nick Galichin off the face-off. And it was a clean draw once again. And Bondra has a chance on the one-timer. And he can one-time the puck. You've got to show this guy plenty of respect. He is a superstar in this league. Here he gets it on the backhand. He had to change the way that pass came because it wasn't right on the tape. So he had the presence of mind. Obviously, you've got to shift it over to your backhand and see if you can get something done. That's a pretty difficult play, though, to get a good shot. And just before that, he had the one-timer right off. Oh, speaking of face-offs, Oates again. He lost one.
Hey!
Man, oh, man.
Throw a party. The Sabres win a face-off. Brown out at center. Off for Groshek. In across the line now, Tenorti is back for it. It's wrapped around the boards now. Johansson able to squeeze it out to center. Sabres get to it. Barnaby couldn't handle. It's just an across the line. Groshek trying to force the issue, couldn't. Back the other way. Here's Oates. Gives it to Juno with speed. Here's Joey Juno's shot. Blocker saved by Hasek. That time he couldn't hang on to it with the blocker. The more conventional blocker save.
Dominic does a funny way. You're supposed to catch it in your glove. He sometimes blocks it in his glove. You're supposed to block it with your blocker, and he catches it. That's...
Can't teach that, right?
No, you can't teach that. You that are 8 or 9 at home, don't try to emulate that part of it. But emulate one thing about Dominic Hasek. He never quits on a play. That's what you emulate most about Dominic Hasek. He just never gives up.
6.5 to go here in the second. Steve Levy, Darren Pang, Brian Hayward. ESPN's exclusive coverage, Game 5, Eastern Conference Finals. The Caps up 3 games to 1. A win away from advancing to their first ever Stanley Cup final appearance. And we get the whistle as the puck is tied up with 6:10 to go here in the second.
Tikkanen's a guy that obviously saves his best for playoff hockey. Right around 22% of his goals have come in the playoffs of his career NHL goals. Those are pretty overwhelming numbers right there, 22.5%. Bob Lemieux right there, 19.7. Glenn Anderson at 15.7. The news around the hockey world with Bob Hartley getting the job. Brian Trottier, the assistant job, he was obviously a coach for the Washington Capitals minor league team, the Portland Pirates. And I talked to Sean Simpson of the Washington Capitals before. They fully gave him, obviously, permission. You'd never stop a guy from enhancing his position. So congratulations to both those gentlemen who have been outstanding in the hockey industry.
Sabres look to wrap it around with Donald Audette unable to do it. Audette, his pass across is now knocked down. Back to Audette, who only had one hand on the stick, and now put a player down. Put Eagles down, crowd roaring for a penalty. Won't get one from Terry Gregson. And it's sent out to center. Race for the puck now. Kelly Miller in the battle. Miller wins the battle and the race. Miller being held up. Centers for Eagles. Oh, couldn't tee it up.
Good play by Miller there. This line, Tikkanen, Miller, and Mike Eagles, a fine shift.
Chatan the other way for Pekka. He, too, unable to tee it up. Put down on the ice. Bondra at center. As the Caps come in inside the zone. He slashed, looked right behind him at Gregson, as it looked like Zhitnik might have gotten him with a two-hander.
One team's getting stronger, though, aren't they? The Buffalo Sabres have had nothing going. Nothing whatsoever in terms of offense.
They've got just 7 shots on goal for the hockey game so far.
And every time the Washington Capitals have been countering, and they've been countering with speed. Now down the right side, this is a race here. This is a battle being won again by the Washington Capitals. Now to the left of your screen, Mike Eagles is getting himself in a position. Right here on the left side. Right here. And this puck ends up going on the toe of his stick. Let it roll here. You see how wide open he is? Oh, he just can't corral it. He's off balance, leaning backwards, and that's why he couldn't stop it and then let her fly. He went underneath his stick. That slot area wide open. The battle on the far boards lost by Buffalo.
Here's Pekka trying to center. Ward was there, but he was checked nicely by Johansson. Back to the point with a big shot by Verata. That was blocked as Pekka went down to the ice. And the Caps come out at center. Too far for Bondra, couldn't handle. Here's Pekka again. Michael Pekka, the captain of the Sabres, on goal, and we'll credit him with a save for that one. Ole the goalie. Have not mentioned his name much in the second, or for that matter, in the hockey game.
I'm going to send him down a coffee anytime now. That's difficult, though. You can't imagine. I mean, he needs to face something that's a little more difficult.
Here's Zednik. Shot, save! Hasek stopping Peter Bondra. And back the other way we go. Michael Grosha couldn't handle. He's knocked off it. Bondra has had Hasek's number. 10 career goals in 16 NHL games against him. That shot up high, stopped by Hasek. Here's Gonchar. Puck bounced on him just a bit, couldn't tee it up. Back the other way, led by Matthew Barnaby. Here's Barnaby. Little drop pass for Hasek. Rather, Groshek, who couldn't handle. And it's back the other way for Washington now. As Craig Berube throws in and a chance of Chief. Simon the hard hit back behind him. Centering feed just knocked away by Wilson. Turnaround shot goes wide. This comes up for Hunter now. Centering pass again. Groshek has for Buffalo, and he'll come out. 3.5 to go here in the second. Knocked away again. Yes. Caps look to break. Led by Chris Simon. Here's Simon on his back and trying to cut in front. Saved by Hasek. Still loose. And the Sabres get to it and push it ahead to center with Barnaby now. And the Sabres will go for a change. They have to be exhausted. Witt for the Capitals, right back out of the zone. Ball for Dale Hunter, and this line for Washington has to be in need of a change as well. How good has that fourth line been for Washington, not just tonight, but in the entire series?
Fantastic. They keep giving them the kind of boost that's necessary, and then the next line, they pick it up. It's a continuation of one line to another. They've been good. Washington's been the much better team in this hockey game. They've had more desperation. Like, they don't want to go back to Buffalo for Game 6.
Battle for Juno. Able to come out of the zone. There was contact right in front of the Washington net. Here's Oates. Drop for Gonchar. Sergei Gonchar for Oates. Shot.
What a save! Holy jumping!
Unbelievable play. Hasek, who now takes his stick out of the goal, but the puck never crossed the line. Red light never went in. How did Adam Oates miss that one? Hasek looked like he was down and out. Evidently not. Here's Tenorti. I believe we'll look at that about 1,000 times.
Ah, these fans below us are still standing with they got to pick up their jaw.
Ward for Zhitnik. Save of the night, maybe the save of the series. Centering feed. Sticked aside by Kolzig. It's worked loose. Here's Zhitnik. Turnaround. That shot is blocked, and it's cleared by Washington. We need a whistle for a replay. Here's a chance. Groshek. Far side shot missed the mark.
Oh, there you go.
Somebody ice the puck,
That's
please.
Unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
Shannon, the touch-up.
Dominic Hasek. He said preseason's All-Stars Olympics, and that was a great save.
Yeah, you can stay. But keep your hands to yourself.
Well, he doesn't have many superstitions. He'll eat a little toast before the game, and he tapes a new stick. That's it. But how about this here? The play by Gonchar is perfect. The no-quit element of Dominic Hasek is exemplified right there with an exclamation point. Sprawling around doing the best snow angel he could come up with, and that right there is a game breaker.
Face off, won by Buffalo. Shot on the back of the net. Riki trying to keep it there to get the face off, but they move it. That was probably Hasek's best save since he made a similar blocker save in the regular season against the Flyers. 2-on-1 Capitals. Here's a chance for Gonchar's shot. Over the net. Missed the target and caught glass.
He could have nightmares. Gonchar has jumped up in the play and supported the rush and been a great element, and that's why Washington's outshot Buffalo 17-2 the last 24 minutes of this hockey game.
Amazing that this is still a 1-1 game. Wilson carrying around the boards. Buffalo be thrilled to get out of this period tied at 1.
Well, they have to find their legs. I mean, they need to muster up some energy here. They're fading.
Thrown inside the Buffalo zone now. Back behind with that hit thrown there by Bondra. Comes up along the near boards. Here's Nicolishin now. His shot was blocked. Sabres get to it. 12 seconds left. Shannon is spun around. And it comes back the other way for Bondra. 5 seconds left. Won't be able to get the shot off as the horn sounds on a period in which the Caps outshot the Sabres 13-2, and Dominic Hasek stole the show.
Absolutely. It was a perfectly set up play by Adam Oates and Sergei Gonchar. Oates to the left now. Hasek is beat. Watch this no give up play here. And oh, Adam Oates is thinking an inch and a half, 2 inches. It's over the blocker. It's a 2-1 lead, and the momentum of this game has changed. That's not the case.
We shift back to John and Barry. Wow.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. And clearly, we're not on the ice for that. It looks a little different when you're down there, but it almost looked like Adam Oates could have just let it go with his forehand.
And you know that when you're a kid in Canada and when you're practicing at the NHL level, you probably take 100 pucks like that every practice. And what you're taught as a kid, when you have a goaltender down out, it goes up under the bar. And that's what happened with Adam Oates. He thought he had the goaltender down out. He was just going to shoot it in the open net. That's what makes Hasek special. He never gives up, and I think he caught Eman Oates by mistake there, by surprise. And the flip side of that, Buffalo is just getting killed. They're not winning any battles anymore. Washington looks so confident and so strong and so impressive and so sure of themselves. Somehow Washington has to keep doing that, but Buffalo has to find a way to take that away and get some of that belief in themselves back.
Yeah, and what we're also seeing, though, is something that should worry Washington is Dominic Hasek
he looks like he
grab
used
a
to.
series right now. 3 games in a row, he'd have to do it, and right now looking pretty good. Stick around. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the West, including Ken Hitchcock, the head coach of Dallas. This guy, very cerebral, thinking about plenty more than just hockey. Civil War buff.